Sports Talk Chicago. Here with Jon Zaghloul, and we are back and ready for today's special guest. He's a sports radio pioneer, host of The Odds Couple on ESPN 1000, and a contributor to the Ballroom Network. Please welcome Mike North to the program. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing good, John. How's everything with you, my friend?
Everything's great. Thanks for being here. It's been a while. There's been a lot going on, especially with the Bears, White Sox, Cubs. We're going to talk about everything today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got, a lot in a memory bank, if you will, from what's happened over at least the last couple of weeks. So, I mean, it's an interesting time. It's usually a slow time of year, but it's not that way anymore because you got a lot of different things going on, like the NBA championship. You got baseball going on. You got the new golf league happening. So it's a little bit more busy for this June than it's been in a lot of Junes, because that's usually for sports radio, at least back in the day, waiting for the Bears, especially if the Sox or the Cubs weren't doing good. It would be like the beginning of a lull period, if you will.
Let's start with the Bears. They recently drafted. What do you make of their selections?
Not much. I just look at it. I say, I hope they make it. I hope they do well. I think all the focus, I think the thing that they're doing wrong is not giving Fields any competition. I think that's a dangerous thing, especially if the kid gets hurt. Then is the other guy going to be ready? Is anybody going to be ready? I see where Mitch Trubisky, for instance, has Pickett, and they're going to hang together, and they're going to work out together. So Mitch Trubisky, first of all, is a great teammate for that, a good mentor, and he could end up losing his job by helping this kid get ready. But that's just a different dynamic. You got a guy competing against a pretty good quarterback in Mitch, where Justin Fields, who had, I think we could all agree, a below average year for what was expected, with no competition. So I'm concerned about that.
Do you think the Bears are committed to Fields right now?
Oh, I mean, they're throwing all in, and it wasn't even their pick. But what choice do they have? I mean, that's the choice that they weren't going to get Trubisky back, even if they wanted him back. He wasn't going to do it. The other quarterback seemed to be set. I mean, it's still an Aaron Rodgers division, but I think they're going to give him. They're going to give him an opportunity, and that's I still don't like not having to compete. But that being said, I keep reading whenever they do practice, the defense has a good day. Well, somebody's quarterbacking. So I'm hoping things turn around and get better.
Maybe it's Trevor Siemian, Mike. Maybe it's not Justin Fields. We don't know.
Well, you know what? I like the fact that they got experience. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, I think Justin Fields knows it's his job, even though I don't think he deserves to have it handed to him.
How patient are you willing to be with Fields? Like, when do you decide, okay, he's a bust versus he may have a chance to be something great?
Well, I'll never put him in the great category with Montana, Brady, Aaron Rodgers, any of those. Serviceable, I got him in. I think 8 games, I'll know. I mean, because if, the narrative now, John, is that they're going to start talking about what's around him. When believe me, nobody's more of a Mitch Trubisky expert than me. Heard for 4 years it was Mitch Trubisky. So now all of a sudden, it's everything around him. And I thought Mitch did a lot with what was around him. For instance, Mitch's first year, I believe Taylor Gabriel was a wide receiver. Allen Robinson, who was his first year guy, hadn't overcome the injury, had 53 catches. They got rid of Jordan Howard and just put this rookie Montgomery in. So I don't want to hear about a lot of support around anybody. I mean, if you're going to be what they drafted you up to be, then hopefully he could have a Trubisky type second year like Mitch had. And that was a great year. 95% rating, 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, a high completion percentage. I think if he has something close to that, which I think is going to be tough for him, then you can be satisfied with that second year.
You think this Bears roster in general, though, is set up for success? Not even just the offense, but in general.
No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be tough for them. I know that the over-under is 6.5. So, they could go 7-9, 7-10. And I guess some Bear fans will be happy with that. I thought we were headed in the right direction with the other guy. And, I heard from Bear fans, and I understand they were tired of Mitch, or they didn't like Mitch for whatever reason. But the one thing I knew was he had the potential to be a starter in the league. And if he starts for the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's a slap in the Bears' face. To me. Because you know what? Pittsburgh's pretty savvy when it comes to things like this. And they were pretty savvy taking Pickett because I don't think there was a clear number 20. And they said, you know what? Let's take the kid from Pitt. Because I heard if they didn't take him, he might not have gone to the mid-40s. So that's a big low. You know what I mean? A big drop back. But they took him, take a gamble, see what happens. It's happened many times before.
If Mitch Trubisky starts, what's your expectation for him?
Well, I already took the over 7.5 wins. So my expectations are hopefully 8 or more. Everybody's going, well, look, Tomlin's always had the better than 500 record. So I'm expecting Mitch to do that. I thought, if he did it with the Bears, why can't you do it with the Pittsburgh Steelers, for God's sake? But I think there'll be a lot of people that bet the under because of the I don't want to say, the propaganda about him over the years. I think that a lot of people around the nation who have been listening to whoever they listen to, who has the negative look of a guy like Mitch Trubisky, a lot of people will take the under. And I'm confident thinking that they'll be over 500. So we'll see what happens.
What do you consider success for Mitch? Are you looking mainly at record or also statistics too when it comes to his time with the Steelers?
Record. I'm looking for record like I did with the Bears. 29-21 record. I don't think, and if you want to say, the defense was great or this was good or that was good, well, I would ask you to add up Fields, Foles, and Dalton, their record with the same team. It's under 500. So they could say whatever they want. Mitch Trubisky had a big influence on them making the playoffs the last time they made them and almost winning it all in 2018.
Is that the same criteria you're going to use for Justin Fields this year, mainly record too?
Oh, I don't care if Justin Fields goes 1 for 10. If we win the football game and he's the quarterback, I'm in. I'm in with them. I think it's about winning with me. And somewhere along the line, we're forgetting about all that in sports. And, I think Twitter's woken me up about the fact that people look at stats. I'm confident in my ability to judge talent. I was the only one, basically. There was a couple stragglers that knew Cutler would never amount to much, but he had stats. Well, Mitch had stats and a winning record, and that wasn't good enough. So the Bears have put themselves in this situation. Really, Nagy was a guy that basically had a decent quarterback, but he wasn't his type of quarterback. So he sabotaged his NFL coaching career.
Can you believe he got another job?
Well, I see who hired him. He's basically getting coffee for Mahomes. That's it. He's a disgrace, John. He's a disgrace as a head football coach. He was a disgrace. 2019, he doesn't meet Mitch, and Mitch just wants to improve. He doesn't meet him. You should never be a head coach of another. You shouldn't even be coaching. But Andy Reid's a buddy. So, the nonsense that was is to me that he was like, I want you to fail so I can get my guy in. And then he gets his guy in and the guy falls on his face. So any guy they picked, Foles, Dalton, Fields, you name it. It didn't work. So we'll see what happens this year. I think that Bear fans will have their eye on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think it will be a fun year. I think it's going to be a fun year to watch both guys.
Who's the better quarterback, Trubisky or Fields, right now?
It's not even close. Come on. Trubisky's got a resume. Fields doesn't have a resume. And I'm not taking nothing against him. It's only his first year. But don't forget, Mitch played under Fox's first year. So, that happens. Both guys played under guys that were not conducive to their career, but they were both traded up for because they could win. And Mitch did that, and it wasn't good enough. So we'll see what happens. But if Fields wins, man, I'm in his corner. I don't care if he goes 10 for 10 or 1 for 10. If they win, the Bears, I'm a Bear fan. I want to see them win. I don't like bad running ships, and that's what they are.
What do you think about the Bears overall when you look at this entire team besides quarterback? Are they set up for anything significant this year?
Now, you know what surprised me? Because it doesn't look good. Surprised me. I mean, I want to be the guy that gets the report card and goes, geez, I thought I was going to get all F's. I got all B's. It's better than getting all F's. Surprise me, guys. Step up a little bit. Win 7-8 games. I mean, if you win 7-8 games, I'll be happy with Justin Fields. I'll be happy with him. So we'll see what happens. I'm not a hater. Like the people were haters with Mitch. There's no other way to put it. He was called a bust. And the Pittsburgh Steelers don't have guys starting if they're bust. And I think Mitch is going to start for him.
Mike North here on Sports Talk Chicago. Mike, let's shift to baseball. Are the White Sox doomed right now?
Nah, I mean, they're 6 out.
They are.
Look, I'll tell you what. I love the passion of the White Sox fans. I love the passion. The younger White Sox fans that have podcasts, and when I say younger, I'll go 35 and under, are impatient, want to scapegoat somebody like the Bears with Mitch until that we saw what happened last year without him. And they want to blame somebody. And I would just ask everybody this, and I love all the White Sox podcasts, even on Bears Bar Room. We got some great guys. If your only angle is to lose the manager, but you have guys that should have never been on the roster signed, like Grandel, like Dallas Keuchel, who was a top 20 paid pitcher. Grandel was unnecessary at the time. We had an all-star catcher in McCann.
Yep.
Who hit 245 last year. He's hurt this year, but maybe doesn't get hurt with the White Sox. We were adequately defensively with him. Grandel can't catch a cold. Eloy. If you start looking, Moncada hurt. Tim Anderson having injury issues and other things. I can't believe where we're at. Thank God we're not in the toughest division because we'd be extinct. But I would ask everybody this. Why are the Sox still favored to win the division? I wonder if anybody in Chicago that listens to our to the stations, any station, even knows. John, did you know the White Sox are still favored to win the Central?
I didn't know they were favorited. No.
Yeah. Minus 120 right now.
Wow.
Minnesota on plus 110. Then you got the Guardians. Now, I would ask everybody this. Why do you think they're favored? Because they still have the best roster. They got Lance Lynn back last night. He looked terrific. If they don't do the shift, you know, they don't even get those first 3 runs on him. That's why he got in the argument, I think, with McEwing. LaRusse has kept the ship where you're really a week away from taking the division. 6 games back. Why are they still favored? Because they're all going to be coming back. They're all going to be healthy. You have a White Sox team that has not been healthy. You have a White Sox team that has not played good baseball, or the guys that have been put in. The roster is flawed. It's a plodding team. Okay. When baseball's now changing to speed, bunting, going the opposite way, it's a team that I feel comfortable with. If you have Lynn, Giolito, Cueto as your 4th or 5th starter, Cease, I'm comfortable. Get a couple bats back, get a couple bats hot. We have the right manager. Don't forget, Tony La Russa was panned last year, and he, under pressure, took the team to the playoffs. Because if they don't make the playoffs, it's considered a complete bust. So now they show weakness when they have 103 games left with 6 bats, and everybody wants them fired. Okay. But who are you going to hire? I don't think Ozzy's going to manage him. AJ Hinch was 75% of the White Sox fans' choice. When I found out that the over-under for Detroit was 78.5 wins, I took the under. and he's not going to disappoint me. Anybody could have managed that Astros team. He fixed games and lost control of his clubhouse where they did what they wanted. And Sox fans wanted that no character guy. That's what he is, no character. Over Tony La Russa. And Ozzy, if Tony was to get fired, which he isn't, I would settle for Ozzy. Okay. But who else would you take? Joe Girardi? How's that working out for everybody? Philadelphia looked absolutely atrocious under him. Then they get this new guy, Thompson, who nobody knows. And he says, well, we're going to make sure we're prepared. Just a direct slap to Joe Girardi and his legend. Okay. No matter what Joe's done, and I like Joe, we're going to make sure we're prepared and what's expected. And then you got Joe Madden, who I actually heard or saw on Twitter, White Sox fans saying they take him now over Tony La Russa. Here's the guy's answer to a losing streak was to get a mohawk. Okay, was to get a haircut. Not to tinker with the lineup, not to try to figure out a hit and run. But the problem was he got fired before he was allowed to show the mohawk to the team. But that was who you hired. Joe Madden, by the way, won a World Series with the Cubs. He'll never be forgotten for that. But he's so less valued for a guy that I always thought would be on top of the world. Okay? Because the gimmicks ran out. The gimmicks ran out. Tony La Russa has made some mistakes. The 1-2 count to me was absolutely an atrocious move. You throw the ball 2 or 3 notches outside, sinkers, make Trey Turner hit his way on or try to strike them out. Or if you're going to walk him, semi-intentionally walk him. Don't give him the base. And don't be stubborn about it, Tony. You've won 53% of your games, okay? Which means you lost a lot too. Okay? So you can't be stubborn. But that being said, he's the best guy for the job right now. They're playing hard. They're playing hard the whole game. So, I mean, they came back the other day with Texas, but they didn't win. But they're playing hard the whole game. So let's see what happens.
That's a great point, too. You know, everybody wants somebody different, but the question is, who else is out there? Who else is better than a Hall of Fame manager you have in Tony La Russa, who has more accomplishments than anybody you can imagine?
Joe Madden's gone. Joe Girardi's gone. They went through terrible losing streaks. The only thing that could get Tony La Russa gone is if they lose 10, 15 games in a row. The fact we're winning when we don't have our starting catcher, our starting left fielder, okay, our starting shortstop, a second baseman who at least could hit. I mean, they haven't filled that hole since the guy they got from Cleveland last year. So now they got Larry Garcia. You're actually still in the hunt. And I think once they get some of these guys back, the schedule in the second half, take a look at it, folks. It's doable. We can make up those games that we're behind right now.
How safe do you think La Russa is? What does he have to do to make sure he keeps his job for this year and even into next year, too?
Well, they got to win. They got to get in the playoffs. I think he's up for if they don't make it, everybody will blame La Russa. But I would ask everybody to look at the stats at the end of the year. Look at the runners in scoring position. Look what, I mean, they can't get a hit, you know, or they have trouble like that. And here's another thing. I mean, my God, I'm watching the Cubs. They're the ones escaping. They're the ones escaping because everybody's invested in a team that at least has a shot. And, you know, there's people that will still swear by certain players. I didn't want Grandel to begin with because I just didn't think he was a good catcher. And when he got picked up, I mean, this is one of he was in the playoffs and got benched during the playoffs because of his lack of catching ability and other things. But the fact that Grandel is hurt again, I mean, they're going to have to lean on Reese McGuire. And you know what I like? If you got your hitters, if they can hit, and I love Vaughn, Berger gets hurt. You know, I think he'll be all right. The Kopech injury was a mystery. You know, I mean, he's got fluid on the knee. Did it happen after the one pitch? Did he have it before? Nobody knew. So there's things they got to straighten out. But what I liked last night was Lance Lynn and McEwen going after it. And if you look at that tape, La Russa's walking in at the end to intercept. And I like the fire. I like that Lance Lynn's back. He impressed me last night.
Is he going to be the ace for the team moving forward?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think he's got the mentality. I think Giolito and these other guys are going to feed off them. They got to hold leads. You can't blame Tony La Russa when you have a 5-0 lead, or your Cease, or you have a 4-0 lead and you're Giolito, and you're going to blame the manager. You're supposed to win those ball games. So let's just say this right now: the organization is to blame, from ownership to the overrated Kenny Williams to Rick Hahn, who shouldn't be rated until he does something, and the players. And Tony La Russa. It's an organizational thing right now.
And here's the
they're still favored. They're still favored to win, John.
Right, exactly. And the interesting part is this, this is the most money Jerry Reinsdorf has ever spent in his season on his payroll, and yet they're in this position. What do you make of that?
I think the problem with spending money is if you spend it on the wrong things. I thought Grandel, $70 million was a waste. I thought Keuchel, making him a top 20 paid pitcher, was a chance. Somebody says to me, well, they got rid of Randy Merkin, my good friend on ESPN 1000. I brought up, would I trade Moncada back for sale? And I said I would. And Randy said, I think you've seen the best of Chris Sale, Mike. And Randy could be right. Okay. But we saw the best of Dallas Keuchel when he wasn't even with the Sox, and we made him a top 20 paid pitcher in baseball. So, you know what? I would take the chance, because I don't think Moncada's going to be. And once again, folks, I said it at the beginning, because I never thought he was their number one prospect. They hid Devers. They hid Benintendi. They hid these guys. Okay. Moncada was good, but I never thought he was their number one prospect. Their prospects are still on Boston. Their prospects are still on Boston. Devers, Bogarts, those guys. Okay. Taking nothing against Moncada, but I would take a chance and trade for Chris Sale right now and give him back Moncada. I don't think Boston would take it.
It's such a good point, because Moncada actually debuted with the Red Sox before he came to the White Sox, hit around 220. They demoted him. Then they traded him with the Chris Sale trade and said, here you go.
Right.
Devers is a superstar. Bogarts is a superstar. Moncada was never in that same class. So that's a great point.
No. And they tried to, well, thank you, John. They tried, but they told the White Sox that, and they fell for it. And I said, are you people crazy? Are you people nuts? I mean, Moncada, what's with these guys? They have sore legs? Their legs are sore? I mean, the training issues with the White Sox have been legendary. They had some issues with the Bulls back in the day. So maybe there's something they got to change up. I would get rid of, my deal is go out there, shag fly balls, run around, do baseball exercises. Quit the stretching all the time. Quit laying on your back and lifting your legs up with a rubber band. Just go play baseball, okay? Because the disabled list is filled with guys that come from teams with 10, 12 trainers on the staff, for God's sake. It's ridiculous.
Back in the day, I'm sure you could attest to this. Pitchers were throwing 300 innings per year, and all they did was run. There was none of this stuff that they're doing today, and more guys are hurt.
I know they're afraid to get Lance Lynn hurt. But I said, come on, go one more inning. They pull him out. They pulled him out after 5. And I'm sure, but you know what? I'm sure they would have said, I'm sure they said, you know what? Here's the pitch count we have you on, and we don't want you to get hurt. And he's important. There's no doubt. Stone even said it last night. But I would say Lance Lynn might have said, I could still go one more inning. So he's that type of pitcher. So he's the guy I think I like leading the field going into the second half.
Mike North still here on Sports Talk Chicago. Mike, a few more questions before we finish up. First off, the score, 30th anniversary party coming up. What's your take? You plan on going?
Where's it at? I haven't even seen it yet. What's going on? Well, I
Apparently,
swear to
you
God, is it on?
You have to send an
Oh,
email,
it's an
to
email?
the store to then go to the party. So do you plan on going?
Where's it at? Where's
don't
the
know.
party? I don't know yet. I don't know when it is. I don't know when it is, where it is. I don't know. I don't know if I'll go or not, but I mean, I'll find out about it, I'm sure.
How do you feel
Great
about
state.
30 years?
Well, I'll tell you what, I've had a charmed existence, and I've been very lucky, and we had a great group with us and at the beginning, and whatever they're doing now, I don't pay that much attention to, but I do know this because of the 92 guys. There's 2022 guys and girls and what have you working at the score because of the people in 92, the sales staff, the on-air guys, the producers, the ownership, Danny Lee and Seth Mason. There's a 30 years because of 92. That's indisputable. But some people seem to forget that sometime.
How special was that group on the air?
If a station came tomorrow, I don't know how healthy Terry is. If a station came around tomorrow, another sports station said, we want to hire the originals of McNeil, Boers, North, Jiggets, Tom Scher at our current ages, we'd win.
You think so?
Yeah, we'd win. No, there's no doubt about it. I think we'd win, but that won't happen. So you know what? I could think it. You know what I mean? But I think we'd do pretty well. I don't know how long we'd last on the air though. We might last a week because
right away, right?
Well, you know what? I mean, it's what. In fairness to everybody, it's because of social media, because of the times, because of the cancel culture, because there's been people canceled in radio, TV, newspapers since the 40s, 50s, 30s. Cancellations on people been going on forever. But if you hold fast, if you have enough wherewithal, there's ways that you can do it. But it would be tough today for that lineup with the go get them attitude and go screw yourselves to the new. I mean, we took on the newspapers, we took on everybody. And we were portrayed in negative ways that weren't true at times because we beat up on the teams and the ownership and they weren't used to it. So, but like I said, things have changed, man. I mean, a lot, and I had a different circumstance. I had no kids and all this other stuff. So you got to take that all into consideration. I'm happy they're all working. I'm happy everybody's working. Okay. But just remember, 92. I mean, you want to talk about 92, those guys there, Boers and McNeil and Danny Jiggets and Jesse Rogers, Judd Surratt, all successes. We had guys like Fred Hubner, Jay Hood, still rolling. I'm still on. So we're very fortunate. And I thank Danny Lee every day that he made in my life. He's the guy that did it.
Would you ever consider returning to daily talk radio? We talked about this last time, but are you still open to it now?
Anytime, look at my number's in the book. No, it's not in the book. I don't even know if there's a book anymore. If somebody calls me and they say, we want you to come on every day, okay, then they want to win. But the money's got to be right. Things got to be right. I got to be able to do my thing. Got to have a guy that's going to back you. I'm happy at ESPN right now. Got a great group. Got Carmen DeFalco, who's just my guy. I mean, class act, smart. Randy Merkin, Danny Zetterman, Cap, all those guys, Waddle. It's a good station. But you know what? You'd like to see the dogs unleashed a little bit more around the nation. I mean, everybody, Stephen A. Smith, God bless him. He's making a good buck and everything else. He gets a little bit more leash, but then you get Mad Dog on. You're starting to get some radio guys on with them now. And when I hear Mad Dog with them, Stephen can't stay with them. See, the thing I would tell Stephen is let's have an argument about any sport you want anytime. No script though to start with. See, then we see who's the boss. Then we see, you know what I mean? Then we see who's the boss. And I see that JJ Redick is causing some good damage now. He gets a little bit thin-skinned. That's something that you gotta learn to get that alligator skin about, but he argues his case. So there's something going well, but I think it should be a little bit tougher right now. Hopefully things will change.
I'd love to see you debate Stephen A. Smith. I would paint it.
I would too. Well, I don't know. You know what? I don't know if Steven's ever been knocked out and looked up at the lights. But you know what? I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I got a great life. I got a great things going. So I just chill. I chill. I walked the dog today. I thought it was like Louisiana hot. I was stationed in Louisiana in July. It was Louisiana hot. So you know what? I got into the air conditioning, got ready for the show, and that's it. I'll chill, watch some TV later on. That's it. Have a little lunch. Get ready to do the odds couple every Friday and Saturday. And then Barroom, I'll be on next Tuesday with Aldo Gandia at 9:00. So, I keep busy. You got to keep busy, John. How are you doing? How's things going over there?
Things are
I
going
heard you got promoted sports director and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Huh? Well,
Things are going
it's
great.
no fun at the kids. It's no fun at the top. They'll come at you. You got to fight them off.
Before we finish up today, last question. What's your top score moment? Is it the Ozzie Guillen brand, the McCaskey brand? What's the number one thing for you?
July 2nd, 1992. I couldn't believe I opened up the Sun-Times. That was our first day. And I see my name in the paper. In my hometown. On the paper I delivered. I'm working with a former Bear, and we got a sport. I get to talk sports, which I've been doing on street corners since I was 10. And my mom used to tell me, I'd bring the report card home, and my dad and mom would say, "You're not going to amount to anything." And I'd be reading the box scores on a Monday morning, Tuesday morning, before school. She goes, "Too bad you'll never make a living, being able to do that." And then it ended up that I did make a living being able to do that. So you never know what's going to happen. That January 2nd is my biggest. That was the opening of the score.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for joining me. Always a pleasure. Really appreciate the time and looking forward to the next time we chat too. I can't wait.
Anytime you want, give me a call. Wait, the phone rings. I got a flip phone, folks. See? Hello. Oh, it's not John. It's one of those solicitation calls. You know what I mean? You know how I answer those calls? Hello. And then they play the tape and then you hang up. That's it. Johnny, it's good to talk to you, handsome.
Good to talk to you too, Mike.
Thanks for remembering a shut-in.
Anytime.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the Cubs too much. We'll get them next time.
We will.
Yeah. See you, buddy.